Welcome, dear viewers, to a story that will make your heart race and send shivers down your spine. Tonight we dive into the chilling tale of the Johnson family and the secrets that hide in their new house. It all started on an ordinary day as the Johnsons moved into their new home, unaware of the horrors that awaited them. So get cozy, dim the lights, and prepare for a terrifying journey that will make you question what lurks in the darkness. Are you ready to face the unknown? Let's begin. In a quiet suburban neighborhood, the Johnson family moved into a seemingly ordinary house. The Johnsons had been renting a small apartment for years, but as their family grew, they found themselves in need of more space. Their eldest son, Michael, had outgrown his tiny bedroom, and Emily, the youngest, needed a safe and nurturing environment to thrive. Additionally, Mr. Johnson had recently been offered a job opportunity in a different city. The prospect of a better career and increased financial stability for the family became a significant driving force behind their decision to move. With the promise of a larger home, better schools for the children, and a brighter future, the Johnsons eagerly embraced the chance to relocate. The neighborhood they chose appeared peaceful and welcoming, providing the ideal setting for their dreams to flourish. However, they had no idea that this house held a dark secret, one that would unravel their peaceful lives. It all began when their youngest daughter, Emily, stumbled upon an old dusty doll hidden away in the attic. Now this doll appeared harmless at first glance, with its worn-out dress and faded porcelain face, and the name tag on her dress, Rosie. Emily, being a curious and imaginative child, instantly formed a connection with the forgotten toy. She named it Rosie and brought it down to her room, treating it like a newfound friend. But here's where things took a sinister turn. As soon as Rosie settled into Emily's room, strange occurrences plagued the household. Toys mysteriously moved on their own accord, and whispered voices echoed through the hallways at night. The once cheerful atmosphere turned into an unsettling sense of unease. Emily's behavior began to change as well. She became increasingly distant, spending hours locked away in her room, talking in hushed tones that sent shivers down her family's spines. Nightmares plagued her sleep, causing her to wake up in cold sweats, her wide eyes filled with terror. Her parents, alarmed by these developments, decided to investigate the origins of the forgotten doll. They delved into the house's history, discovering that it had once belonged to a little girl named Charlotte, who had tragically passed away many years ago. It seemed that Rosie was more than just a doll. She held the spirit of Charlotte, trapped within the porcelain shell. Decades ago, in the same quiet suburban neighborhood, Charlotte lived in the very house that the Johnson family now occupied. She was a gentle and imaginative girl, but the Charlotte parents were burdened by the weight of their own troubles. The parents, caught in the relentless cycle of demanding careers and an unbalanced, toxic relationship, struggled to provide the love and care their youngest daughter, Charlotte, so desperately needed. However, the weight of her parents' neglect bore heavily on her young shoulders. She craved the warmth of a loving embrace, the sound of laughter filling the halls, and the comforting words that would assure her she was not alone. As the days turned into years, Charlotte's health began to deteriorate. A relentless illness slowly drained her vitality, confining her to her room and isolating her from the outside world. It was within the confines of her bedroom that her favorite doll, a cherished companion named Rosie, became her only solace. Rosie, a gift from her parents during a brief moment of respite, held a special place in Charlotte's heart. The doll's delicate features and soothing presence provided a semblance of comfort amidst her pain. Little did anyone know that Rosie would become entwined with Charlotte's tragic fate. One fateful night, as the moon cast an ethereal glow over the silent mansion, Charlotte succumbed to her illness. The weight of her unfulfilled desires, the absence of love, and the anguish of her unmet needs became too much to bear. In her final moments, her spirit clung to the only source of solace she had ever known, her beloved Rosie. As her life slipped away, the essence of Charlotte's soul fused with the doll, creating a chilling bond that surpassed the boundaries of life and death. Rosie became a vessel, containing the residual pain and longing that Charlotte had carried throughout her short, tragic existence. But Charlotte's story did not end there. In the years that followed, Rosie, now inhabited by Charlotte's anguished spirit, sought connection in the living realm. The doll, still bearing the marks of love and longing, found its way into the home of the Johnson family. Emily, the Johnsons' young daughter, became the unwitting recipient of Rosie's presence. As Emily played and shared her world with the doll, Charlotte's spirit recognized a kindred soul, someone who embodied the innocence and friendship she had so desperately craved in her own life. One fateful night, as the clock struck midnight, Emily's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, found themselves jolted awake by a blood-curdling scream echoing through the house. Fear gripped their hearts as they rushed to their daughter's room, only to find an otherworldly sight that would forever haunt their nightmares. There, standing at the foot of Emily's bed, it was Rosie, her porcelain face twisted into a wicked grin. But this was no ordinary doll. It emanated an ethereal glow, and its eyes burned with an otherworldly light. Emily lay motionless, her body levitating above the bed, as if trapped in the clutches of an invisible force. In the dim moonlight, they saw a faint figure standing at the foot of their bed. It was Charlotte's spirit, her hollow eyes filled with a haunting emptiness. Her voice, barely a whisper, echoed with a sorrowful plea. "I've come to take Emily with me." The parents' hearts pounded in their chests as they realized that the doll's spirit had taken possession of their beloved daughter. Rosie's porcelain hands extended towards Emily, her grip tightening around the child's trembling throat. Emily gasped for air, her face turning a ghastly shade of purple as her desperate parents fought to free her from the doll's icy grip. With every ounce of strength, Emily's father wrestled Rosie from her grasp. The doll screeched with an unholy fury, a sound that echoed through the house, shaking the very foundation of their reality. The room shook violently, as if torn between two realms. In a final act of desperation, Emily's mother reached for the fireplace poker and struck Rosie with all her might. And then suddenly a deafening silence descended upon the house. Emily, gasping for breath, slowly regained consciousness, her parents wrapping her in a tight embrace, tears streaming down their faces. Then they know they are facing a force beyond their understanding. Fear gripped their hearts when they saw firsthand the depths of darkness hidden within the doll. And then they decided to call a Father Samuel Morgan. Father Thomas arrived at the Johnsons' home next night, armed with his trusty Bible and a heart filled with conviction. The air crackled with an otherworldly energy as he stepped into Emily's room, the very epicenter of the haunting. As he began the exorcism ritual, the room plunged into an eerie darkness, the temperature plummeting to bone-chilling levels. Emily's body convulsed violently, her voice distorted into a guttural growl that sent shivers down the spines of those witnessing the horrifying spectacle. Father Samuel Morgan stood resolute in the heart of the supernatural storm, the room trembling with a malevolent force. The air thickened with an eerie energy, causing a chill to run down his spine. Shadows writhed and twisted, morphing into grotesque forms that seemed to taunt his sanity. Emily, trapped in Rosie's clutches, stood motionless, her eyes devoid of life. Father Morgan's voice, laced with a mix of fear and determination, cut through the unsettling silence as he invoked ancient incantations, desperately trying to sever the unholy bond between Emily and the doll. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced the air, tearing through the room like a banshee's wail. The very walls quaked, while objects were hurled across the space with a furious intensity. Furniture crashed and shattered, as if thrown by invisible hands. It was a tempest of supernatural power, defying the laws of nature. Undeterred by the chaos, Father Morgan fought against the raging tempest. Beads of sweat dripped from his brow as he poured every ounce of his being into the exorcism. His voice rose above the tumult, strained but unwavering, echoing with a desperate plea for salvation. The doll's porcelain face contorted into a twisted, malevolent grin, its glassy eyes burning with a fiery hatred. Darkness swirled around it, thickening into a suffocating miasma that seemed to devour the very light in the room. With unwavering determination, Father Morgan continued his chant, his voice reverberating with a potent mixture of authority and desperation. The words seemed to slice through the thick atmosphere, reaching out to the tormented spirits that lingered in the shadows. A surge of ethereal energy exploded forth, illuminating the room with a blinding radiance. The spirits, caught in a tumultuous battle between their own anguish and the faint glimmer of hope, let out anguished cries that sent shivers down the spines of all present. the air turned heavy with their suffering, permeating every inch of the room. In a final surge of raw power, Emily convulsed violently, her fragile form racked by the intense struggle between light and darkness. Her contorted body trembled as the malevolent spirit fought ferociously to maintain its hold, a battle of wills that transcended the realm of human comprehension. Summoning every ounce of strength, Father Morgan unleashed a surge of positive energy, a brilliant burst of pure light that tore through the oppressive darkness. The room quivered as if caught in the grip of an invisible tempest, the very fabric of reality quaking under the weight of the supernatural confrontation. A haunting chorus of howls and screams reverberated through the room, the collective cries of the tormented spirits and the vengeful entity that had possessed the doll. Their voices merged into a cacophony of terror, their agony and fury reaching a crescendo that threatened to rupture the sanity of all who listened. And then, in a moment of divine intervention, the battle reached its climax. Emily's body convulsed one last time, her eyes blazing with a mix of terror and liberation. The malevolent spirit, its hold shattered, was forcefully expelled from her fragile form, retreating back into the darkness from whence it came. Silence fell like a suffocating blanket, broken only by the ragged gasps of Emily as she collapsed to the floor, her body trembling with exhaustion. The room, once a battleground of supernatural forces, now stood still,